you're looking for a way to make some extra cash, and of all the things that you love, like nothing is sticking. Well, there's one thing you do know, and that is the reason you clicked on this video is you love coffee. I love coffee. I drink it every day and sometimes multiple times a day. I just love the way it tastes. I drink my coffee hot. I drink my coffee cold. I drink it with sweeteners. I drink it without. I just love coffee and I love the way it tastes. And I brew mine at home, but sometimes I do go to coffee shops and I actually work out of coffee shops sometimes. Well, stick around, baby, because we have 3 ways that you can turn coffee into cash. Okay, so I have a story for you. One day I was in my favorite coffee shop, the one they closed down, by the way. That's very sad. So I was in my favorite coffee shop working, and in walks this gentleman with his family. And he was asking the barista, like, oh, you guys are going out of business. Are you selling your machine? Are you selling your what do you call it, that espresso machine? Are you selling your equipment? And he was asking all kind of questions. And he said, yeah, my daughter, which she was with him, and she was like a college student. She was actually still in college. And he said, I want to open up a coffee shop for my daughter so she can make some extra money while she's going to school. This is what he said. And so, they ordered their coffee and they sat down, and the guy sits down next to me. And as it turns out, they're from Hawaii. So we had that instant connection. We were talking story. And I was asking him about, why do you want to open up a coffee shop for your daughter? Because I have some experience opening up a retail store, and it is hella expensive. No, why would you want to put that on a young girl that's not even graduated from college yet, right? So we were talking about it, and I had a really good idea. And that's what made me think about making this video, was this experience with this gentleman in the coffee shop. So the first way, and this is what I was telling him, why doesn't she do a coffee truck? Because when you open up a retail store, you have a ton of expenses. You have, first of all, you've got your rent, all your overhead. You've got your rent that you have to pay, your lease, and then you've got utilities. And then, of course, if she's in college, she's going to have to hire a bunch of people. So now she's got payroll taxes, and she's got a whole bunch of headache that this young girl doesn't need to have. If you have a brick and mortar coffee shop, not only that, but then now you're tied into a lease, and that's going to be like, what, 4 or 5 years maybe? So you don't want to do that to your daughter. So I said, why don't you do a coffee truck instead? Like get a mail truck, or my friend had a bread truck. He bought a bread truck to do his business in. So any kind of truck that you could, turn into where you have the window and everything, or you can actually buy those. They actually sell those now. And I have a few examples of trucks like that I can share with you. So I told him, why don't you do that? And she can do it when she's not in class, or on days that she doesn't have school. Early in the morning when she doesn't have school, she can hire a couple of her girlfriends to help her, and they don't have to commit to something full time. So if you want to make money with your favorite beverage, coffee, and you don't have to be, like 9 to 5 hustling with your coffee truck, you could go and you could park it at a certain spot during the morning, and then you can move it, in the afternoon. When I worked in an office, we always had coffee in the morning. And then at 3 o'clock, everybody was kind of like, okay, it's time for a coffee run. I'm running out of steam. So you could move it to another spot for the afternoon coffee. You know what I'm saying? So opening up a coffee truck business would be a fantastic idea. So let's talk about the financial aspect of doing a coffee truck. Okay, so you could get a mail truck and you can convert it into a coffee truck, or you can go to government surplus auctions. You can look at that online, and they auction off trucks and maybe mail trucks, delivery trucks, things like that. So you can get them pretty cheap if you want to get it at an auction. I found on AliExpress, they have coffee trailers on AliExpress for $3,400. Of course, you're going to have to pay to ship it, but relatively inexpensive when you compare that to a coffee shop, because your monthly rent is going to be more than $3,400. And I actually found one on Amazon for about $6,700 that you could buy a coffee truck or a trailer. Actually, the trailer is a good idea because if you've got a truck that you can tow this trailer, you can unhitch it, park it at home, unhitch it, and then go back to school, right? For this girl, or park it, unhitch it, and you can go do your full-time job. And now to the financial aspect of it, let's talk about what the profitability would be for a coffee truck. I looked it up, and what I found on average was about 65 to 75% gross margin. So gross margin means is what you're going to make before you take away all of your expenses. You're going to have to pay for coffee, and you're going to have to pay for water. And if you have people working for you, you've got payroll to pay, you've got, and cups, napkins, all of those details that you're going to put into your business plan when you write your business plan for your coffee truck. I did some research on the average margins for a coffee truck. So the average gross margin is between 65 to 75%, which is really, really good considering, right? Your cost of goods sold is about 25 to 35%. Your cost of goods sold is going to be the actual coffee. You're going to have to get bottled water or some, water into your machine somehow. And you're going to have the cups and the napkins and the stir sticks and the cream, sugar, all of that. That's all cost of goods sold. Then what is a not cost of goods sold is like your generator and the gas for your generator, because you're going to have to power your truck. You can't keep it turned on for power. So you're going to have to do that. And then any payroll, if you're going to pay your friends to come and work with you, or you pay yourself, you always pay yourself. Okay. Don't say that I'm going to sacrifice my time for the good of my business, because eventually you're going to burn out if you don't pay yourself. So you have to pay yourself. So the average gross margin, you're going to take all of those costs of goods sold and your payroll, everything out of that margin. What you have left over is your profit. The overhead for your coffee truck is going to be significantly lower than if you had a brick and mortar coffee shop. So let's look at the financials of your coffee truck. Average gross sales is about $9,000. If you find a really good spot, depending on your market and where you operate in, you could make more than that if you want to add on like pastries and things like that, if you want to increase your average ticket. So always upsell. Okay. By the way, always upsell. Oh, did you want anything to eat with that? Or you know what really goes good with that is a cheese Danish. Would you like to try one? So you're always going to upsell so you can push up your average ticket. You don't want to just be satisfied with a cup of coffee, right? So if you can push your average ticket up and you push your average sales up, you could make about $132,000 a year with your coffee truck. That's amazing. That's way lower than a brick and mortar store. And your margin is between 55 to 65%, which is great. On to number 2, a coffee cart. Now, this is a smaller thing. It's not a coffee truck. It's a cart, something that you are going to place inside maybe the ground floor of an office building. You're going to have a kind of a semi-permanent place where you can bring your cart in and park it there and lock it up at the end of the day. You've seen those in the malls. They have those little carts that they close all the doors. So that's a coffee cart. You can get one on Wayfair. I found one for like $1,900 for a coffee cart. Now think about that. How much coffee could you sell out of your coffee cart? And your overhead is very, very small. Roughly about 60 to 70% net profit, because your overhead is super tiny. It's just you. You don't have any employees. You don't have any electricity. So all you got is your coffee, maybe some of your pastries, and water. As far as how you're going to power your coffee cart, you're going to want to put it in an area where you can plug into the wall. Like that's why I say in an office building. When I worked downtown, there was an office building that had a coffee cart in it, and it was there every day, and they plugged in to the electricity for the building. So they didn't even have an electric bill. Your coffee cart business is going to be about gross margin, like 80 to 90%. So, of course, you have to factor in your cost of goods sold. And you got to keep track of that. You got to keep track of your accounting. So, make sure you know how to do that. QuickBooks is a great way to do that. You can keep track of everything in there. So, your cost of goods sold is going to be your coffee, your water, your cups, your napkins, like the stir sticks, if you have that, the covers for your coffee cups. Do your due diligence and visit a lot of coffee carts, a lot of coffee shops, and if you can find them, some coffee trucks. That all goes into your due diligence and to researching your business so you know eyes wide open what you're going into. So take note of all the things that they use to make and sell their coffee. So far, I think the coffee cart is my favorite because the profit margin is a lot higher and it's a simple business to run. However, this one is going to be by far my favorite. Coffee roaster. If you can be a coffee wholesaler, roast your own beans. I mean, there's a lot of places where you can even buy them roasted. You're going to sample your coffee so that you can have all the different varieties. You want to have an espresso, you want to have a French roast, you want to have like a house blend, you want to have a decaf. So also take a look at and research all the different kinds of coffee. What is the best kind? What is the best selling? Caffeinated, decaffeinated, etc. But if you can be a coffee roaster and sell your product wholesale, that is the best idea because you can have regular recurring income. So if you build a good relationship with all of your coffee shops, so let's say that you specialize in a particular kind of coffee, maybe it's from Ethiopia, or I knew this lady that had a coffee. She was a coffee roaster. She actually roasted it in her shop. So her specialty was wholesaling, but she had a coffee shop just so that she could make some money while she was roasting her coffee beans. And she liked to sell her coffee to other retailers. So think about that as an idea. You can be a wholesaler. So you roast your coffee and you build a relationship with these coffee shops, maybe some smaller ones, maybe some larger ones with multiple locations. See, that's the greatest idea when you have a client that has multiple locations because they're naturally going to buy more from you. So if you are a coffee roaster, you provide good service and you back your product and you have a great product that tastes good. So if you are a wholesaler and like I said, you have multiple accounts that you service, that is regular recurring income. And you can kind of predict what your income is going to be if you know that these shops are going to order from you, you service them, you check on them, you go by and you visit or you call. People love face-to-face. Okay. Don't be calling to place your reorders. You go and you visit your clients and you see how they're doing. You go and you take the owner for lunch and you talk about coffee and you talk about what's the latest thing in coffee. You're always wanting to expand your knowledge and expand your product offerings. Like my friend that had the coffee roasting shop, she traveled around the world tasting coffee. She went to coffee bean expos and she was like the connoisseur of coffee. So that's what you should be, is a connoisseur of coffee. If you want to be a coffee wholesaler and you can expand online, you can expand to different states. That's why I like this business, because if you want to 10x your income, being a coffee roaster is the thing to do. Okay, so now I've given you 3 ideas. You can start out small. You can do a coffee cart, and then you can graduate. Whoops. And then you can graduate to a coffee truck, move around and look for that sweet spot. And then maybe if you're like, okay, I'm done with this coffee truck, I want to actually be a coffee roaster or a coffee wholesaler. There are a ton of people that do wholesale coffee online. You can sell your coffee on Amazon. You could sell your coffee on your own website. You could do coffee subscriptions. I mean, the possibilities are endless if you want to become a coffee roaster. Now I'm thinking maybe I want to be a coffee roaster in my retirement. Anyways, so tell me, what kind of coffee fits your personality? Are you a hot? Are you a cold? Are you latte? Are you espresso? Are you cappuccino? Do you like sweetener? Do you like without sweetener? Tell me. Drop a comment below. I would love to know. So we talked about 3 ways that you can make some cash off of your love for coffee. Now, when you start your coffee business, you're going to want some business cards. So why don't you check out the next video? So those were 3 ways that you can make. Damn it, why is my nose itchy? Damn my nose. I think I'm allergic to my microphone. I hope you enjoyed this video. No, I don't want to end it that way. I just want to end it like they say. You got to just end it. I did not introduce myself. Who cares? Bye for now.